This idea of future proofing, when we talk about just the shift that education is going under, we don't call it a revolution, we call it an evolution. Because when we think about learners and leaders today and positioning them with disruptive technology, the rise of AI, cybersecurity, but also this redefinition of what it means to truly lead when it comes to the personal and the professional human being and human doing coming together, it looks a lot different. Particularly when we ensure that we have digital natives who are walking into our schools, who are ready and hungry for what they need to not just thrive after they graduate, but how can they show up when it comes to personal branding, when it comes to responsible digital citizenry. So the one thing that we know is, particularly with the workforce, is that we're not just preparing students for one job, one career, one pathway. What we're preparing them to do is to have multiple reinventions throughout the trajectory of their life. So this workshop is really going to be about giving leaders the mindsets, the micro habits, and the strategies to hit that reality head on and ensure that instruction and curriculum is not only having the language that students need to hear, but also the ones they can relate to and engage with. We know that school leaders across the country have been overwhelmed, not by just what's changing, but simply the speed, how fast things are shifting. One month, you have a set of legislation, policies, and protocols that work. And then the next month, something shifts just a little and requires a huge tweak. So when we think about AI all the way to students' mental health and workforce alignment, this workshop is designed to really anchor leaders in clarity while fueling them with innovation with what they're already doing that works well. And we do that through future proofing. So when we think about future-proof leadership, it's not just about predicting the future. It's about saying, what can my school do? What can we implement? How can we engage learners so that 6 months from now, at the end of the school year, for next cohort, we are building something that keeps us agile, that keeps us human-centered, and keeps us engaged. And a lot of this is about the unlearning. Sometimes it's unlearning the way we used to do school to open our mindsets to ways that it can potentially work better, more effectively, and develop more efficacy for students. So I'm going to walk school leaders through what it looks like to move from a knowledge-based economy to a skill-based economy. We're going to lift up the 10 most in-demand skills for 2025 and 2026. And then we're going to look at their curriculum and say, where are you already extrapolating executive presence? Where do you have opportunities for students to have voice and power and agility? And it can be something as simple as taking a kindergarten literacy lesson, and instead of saying, okay, I want you to give a book report, I want you to pitch this character. I want you to talk about this setting, and doing that in a way that makes sense for the students. I want people to not just sit and get. I want them to feel, I want them to experience, I want them to talk and walk away with viable next steps. In my 20 plus year career, being a third and fourth grade teacher, as AP principal, and eventually chief academic officer for our state, I've worked with leaders at every level. And I've watched leaders who were buried with compliance, with burnout, with outdated systems. And the core of it for each of them is that their heart was in it. They knew that they wanted to make a change and a shift for leaders. And so one of the things we pride ourselves on with the Limitless Leader is that we ensure that they have the tools to be able to forecast and to be able to flex. Because I think it's in that ebb and flow of knowing that you want to bring your best self forward to be able to show up for students. But you can only bring your best self when you're full, when you're clear, and when you have that drive in you. It's up to us to be able to show up. I'm passionate about filling the cup up for leaders so that when they're standing in front of students, whether it's in the boardroom where they're making decisions for that are going to impact students, or whether they're in a classroom, I want students to feel that fullness. So what drives me is helping school leaders stop surviving change and start steering their own.